Well, cheers, ladies. Welcome Georgia Love and Sarah Harris to the show. It is Friday. It is wine o'clock time. Cheers.
Oh,
Happy weekend.
How fab.
It's a good way to start an interview.
It is a good way to start an interview.
Like that.
Wet the whistle, dive straight into it. Welcome to the show. We've had a couple of, Sarah, your colleagues on in recent times.
Fraggy and Denise.
I know, that was such good fun. And one of the things we asked them was, and I guess because you've both been on TV, is what's been, I guess, the biggest blooper you've ever done on live television?
Ooh, I've got a good one. I've got a really good one.
Go on.
I've dropped the F-bomb 3 times in a row on live television.
Three times?
In a row.
How?
I didn't know I was on television at the time. I was 23. And I was working at the Today Show over at Channel 9, and I was doing a live cross, and I just had this horrible morning, and I'd been up for 3 days straight covering all sorts of different things, and I started doing a live cross, and there was some issues going on with my earpiece, and then they said, "Yep, you're clear, all gone. You can go." And I said, "Great," and I walked over to the link operator, and I was like, "Guys, we've got to sort out this effing earpiece. I can't effing hear myself effing think." Anyway, and then the next minute my phone starts blowing up, but I'm like, oh, must be getting a congratulatory call for doing such an excellent job. And they're like, "We heard everything you said." I'm like,
So was it actually on air when?
So the audio was on air, so me and my potty mouth tirade went to air, and the picture was of poor Sammy Lucas, who was about to start the weather. So people were like, "Watching Sammy Lucas is a potty mouth."
Oh no!
And then I obviously I copped it, and I said, "Yeah, that was me. It was my mistake. Wow." And it was horrible. I thought my career was over before it even began.
You thought Sammy Lucas's career was over too.
Look, she was really cool about it. She gave me a call that night and made sure that I was okay, because I was super young and super green and just wasn't. I just had so much to learn, including never swear with a microphone on. But yeah, that was my biggest blooper. Top that, G Love.
No, I can't top that. I don't think.
Would it be not picking Maddie?
Oh, burn! She did not.
Wow, how long have we been here?
Like 3 minutes.
No, but you're like part of our family now, so we know. Like you're part of the Studio 10 family.
Well, Tam asked what was my biggest blooper on live TV, so I'm
yeah,
going to let that one slide.
True. Semantics.
Well, apart from falling down the stairs on the
brilliant.
opening night of...
That was so brilliant.
That was the worst blooper, but I think live TV, it wasn't too bad. It was just really embarrassing. I kind of forget where I am sometimes, which I suppose is a good thing because it means I'm comfortable, but it's not a good thing because I'm a massive dork. And I do this thing, like if someone compliments me, I go, "Oh," and like flick my hair really sarcastically. And my sports presenter, when I was presenting news in Tassie, said something to me in the throw from sport to news one night. And I forget even what he said, but I went like this and flicked my hair like an idiot and just kind of went, "Oh my God, I'm on the 6 o'clock news," and I just did that. And it was just embarrassing. It just looked dumb.
Ladies, it is International Women's Day this week. And look, it is one of those things where it's a global focus, I guess, on equality and celebration for women. What does this day mean for you?
I think it means so much, and we're in such a great place in 2017 as women. We can vote, we can, get on the train, we can do anything that men can do, which I think is phenomenal. But there still is inequality, there still is the gender pay gap, there are still issues that we have. So it's so important, and I think the most important thing about International Women's Day is getting the whole world on the same page as well, because it is International Women's Day, and I'm very much talking about us here in Australia. There are a lot of places in the world where we're not equal and we're not treated the same and nearly as well as we should be. So I think in a country like ours, we need to use a day and a week like this to support the people around the rest of the world and try to bring them at the very least to our standard and then bring everybody up even further.
Yeah, I think I was really disheartened to read the other day. There's a survey that was done in the UK, and it showed that even though 96% of British women believe in equality between the sexes, only 8% of British women identify as feminists. That says to me that feminism has a really big PR problem, and I think part of that is focusing on really kind of silly, meaningless things like the pedestrian crossing lights, which everyone's been talking about. And it's just, that stuff isn't an issue, you know? And I think sometimes this third wave Western feminism gets so caught up on imagined problems when we're not, that our attention is deviated and taken away from real problems like the issue of domestic violence, particularly in Aboriginal communities, where, you know, if you are a woman in one of those Indigenous communities, you're something like 35 times more likely to be a victim of domestic violence. You know, we should be putting our energy into things like that, female genital mutilation, child brides. These are really important issues that we should be focusing on.
Or spending our money on. I mean, how much is it going to cost?
$8,500 for 6 traffic lights.
Yeah.
What a waste of money. And we're shutting down domestic violence shelters right around the country. Are you for real?
No.
None of this matters.
Yeah.
We need to focus on the important stuff, like making sure women are safe and, you know, adequately remunerated when it comes to pay and work. But this other stuff, they're distractions.
Yeah.
And they're undoing all that really, really hard work that the women before us did when they burned their bras and they marched in the streets so we could have this awesome sense of equality. And I feel like they're undoing it a little bit. Do you?
And
Doesn't it kill you when you hear like a young girl, like a 16-year-old, 21-year-old going, I'm not a feminist. I don't hate men. And it's like, that's not what it is.
That's exactly what I was going to say. I think you're right about feminism having bad PR, because people say I'm not a feminist because I don't think that women are better than men.
Yes.
And I don't think that, you know, we don't need men to survive or exist.
Yes.
That's not really, I don't think, what feminism is. It's just about believing that women are as strong and as important and equal.
And then
exactly.
there's that other thing as well, where if you disagree with a woman publicly, it's like, well, I thought you were a feminist. You know, what about sisterhood? It's like, feminism doesn't mean that I'm going to agree with everything another girl does, or support everything she does. What I do support, however, is her choice.
Yeah. What does career success mean to you, Georgie?
Waking up in the morning and being so excited to go to work and coming home and feeling like you've done something, even if you've had the worst day at work ever, feeling like, you know, you've done something, you've achieved something. That's absolutely success. I think that's what matters. I don't think it matters whether you are serving charcoal chicken in a takeaway shop, whether you are, you know, picking up rubbish on the sidewalk, or whether you are going to work as the treasurer of the country every day. I think if you are enjoying what you're doing, you're feeling a sense of satisfaction and fulfillment, then that's career success.
I've always said that. I've always said, you know, success means different things to different people. You know, as you said, you know, success might be that somebody who works in a takeaway store and they think they're successful.
Yeah,
so,
they're
why
making
take
money, they're
away from
supporting
that?
themselves,
Or-
they're happy. That's absolutely success.
And don't you think that changes a little bit over the years?
Oh,
I mean,
absolutely.
I've got a few years on you, Miss Georgia. But I think when I was your age, you know, I defined career success very differently. I thought it meant being in Sydney with a network job, you know, getting the biggest stories. And now, being 35 and a foot in the grave.
Hang on, you don't have that many years on me, thank you very much.
But I think your priorities change. And you're so right though. For me now, it is getting excited to go to work and spend my mornings with fabulous people who inspire me and challenge me every single day.
Do you think we're bridging the gap between male and female equality in the workplace?
Look, I do personally, but I'm also in an industry and in a role where it is actually being taken over more and more and more by females. So it's almost, I think in our industry, it's becoming almost the opposite.
I love seeing now on the footy show, you know, and having the female presenters on the footy show.
And you're not just token.
No.
You know, like Erin Molan knows her stuff.
Yeah.
Yvonne Sampson, who got poached to go to Fox, like she is all over it. You know, these are women with brains and they can hold their own against the blokes and even upstage them in some cases, you know. I think there's I definitely feel like, because I started when I was 16 in telly, not on air, but kind of, you know, shit kicking, making coffees and sweeping and that type of thing. So I think I've seen a real change. I must say, when I was at 9, I was given big stories, you know, hard stories to do, lead stories. And I think probably 10 years before that, it was mostly the blokes who got to do, you know, the big network stories. So that was cool. I sit on a predominantly female panel.
That's right,
every day. I think what we do need to see is more women in management roles, don't you think?
Yes, because there is still a gender pay gap. And that's obviously in different industries and for different reasons. But I think we're quite fortunate being women in our industry. Or unfortunate because there's more of us, so it's more competitive.
I was talking, and the gender pay gap is a really interesting, complicated thing because you look at the time that women take out of work and that type of thing. When I was your age, Georgia, 28,
so many years ago.
So many years ago, feels like a distant memory. I was a completely different person, completely unsure of myself. I would get terribly nervous before doing live crosses. I would labour over scripts. I just didn't back myself, and I, you know, would always think that, you know, I had to reach a certain goal before putting myself forward. Whereas there were guys that were coming up behind me who were younger, probably a little less experienced, but they backed themselves and they believed that they can do it. I think women need to do more of that.
I love a saying, I use it all the time, it's a dress for the job you want, not the job you have. Yeah.
That's why I wear Victoria's Secret angel wings the whole time.
So sad. Get your wings, girlfriend.
Oh dear. Now, Sarah, do you believe, I mean, you've had children. Georgie,
One.
not so much yet.
Yes.
Do you believe, what's the positive and negative against having children, I guess, and then going back into the workforce?
Positives, and the positives far outweigh the negatives. Positives for me is that it just puts work life into complete perspective.
Yep.
If I've had a crappy day at work, I can come home and see my little boy's beautiful face and I'm immediately buoyed by that. I think it's given me depth as a journalist and as a commentator. I have a completely different perspective on many parts of the world now, now that I'm not only thinking about myself and I've got a little one to take care of and to care for. I think that's been sort of the best things about it. The worst things is just the constant tiredness. I am shattered all the time. And it's, you know, and I just have the one, you know, and I look at, you know,
It gets better.
They sleep more, and when they're teenagers, you can't get them out of bed.
Well, this is right, but every stage has different challenges, right? But yeah, he's 14 months at the moment. He's a very busy little boy, but I don't want to wish that away either, because you know, once that period's over, he'll never go back to it.
There's such pressure on women, I think, to make sure you've got to have the perfect house and cook the meal and, you know, make sure the washing's done and the vacuuming and cleaning and also going off to work and looking after the children, you know, and it sort of gets a bit, ugh.
Yeah.
So, you know, we need to know that it's okay if you don't actually do the washing one day, or it's okay if you order pizza one night, or, you know, like, don't stress yourself out about it.
Take shortcuts.
Yes.
Because it's so important to make sure that, you know, as a mother, your brain is in the right spot, because if if mum's not good, it's not good for the baby, it's not good for the husband, you know, not good for everyone. So you do need to take care of yourself and make sure that, make sure you're putting yourself not
okay to have a bit of
first,
me
because
time too, isn't it?
Well,
Yeah.
I think women often put themselves last,
Yep.
you know, and put their needs behind everyone else's. I think it's just, you know, it's a default position that we fall into. But I think, you know, I'm not saying that you need to just to go on holidays by yourself every week, but just have some time for yourself, because if you're an energised, happy mum, that means for an energised, happy family.
Yeah. I've got a girlfriend who says self-care isn't selfish, it's essential.
Yeah.
I like that. Yeah.
Girls, are we ready to play a little game?
Sure.
Yes.
I'm not sure if Denise and Craig told you, but it's called the 5-second rule. You've got 5 seconds to answer a question. It's going to be like name 3 of, and then you've got to name 3 things in 5 seconds. And you're playing for a little goodie bag today.
Ooh.
Yes, yummy.
Ooh.
It's got a bottle of Gießen. Because Gießen are our sponsors. Wine glass pens, so you get to sign your wine glass, and 1 o'clock wine glasses.
Oh, lovely.
Yes. So I will get this up and started. And we'll
Should we have another little sip?
Yeah,
before
I think
doing
we
this?
better.
Wet the whistle. We're going to start with Sarah first. And your question is, name 3 past Gold Logie winners.
Denise Drysdale, Bert Newton, Rove.
She just got in. Very good. All right, Georgie. Name 3 things you might find in a bathroom.
A toilet, a hand towel, and soap.
Very good. Nailed it. She's got time to spare. Georgie. Name 3 things people love to take photos of.
Themselves, the beach, and out aeroplane windows.
Yeah.
Very true. Very
Sunrises.
true.
Yeah.
Sarah. Name 3 pet peeves.
I don't know.
You're too nice.
I know, but
People are lovely.
I do them all.
Georgie. Name 3 game shows.
This one we're playing right now, the $5 quiz and Family Feud.
Oh, good cross promotion in there. I like it.
Sarah, name 3 celebrities that are only known by their first name.
Beyonce, Madonna, sure.
Good.
Nailed it.
Good.
She knew that one. She had that one up her sleeve. Who we got to? Georgie. Name 3 things you find in a park.
Grass, a swing, and a slide.
Very good. All right, Sarah. Name 3 things you do when you wake up.
Check my phone, check Instagram, check Twitter.
Do you just like roll over and
Yeah. Hit snooze as well. Definitely hit snooze a couple of times.
Georgie, name 3 things you do if the power goes out.
Check my phone, check Instagram, check Twitter.
The Bachelorette After Dark.
So sexy, right?
Sarah, name 3 Marvel DC superheroes.
Oh, Batman, Superman, Ant-Man.
Oh, good. Is he Marvel, DC, Ant-Man? We'll give it to
Sure.
him anyway. Coming on to the home stretch. Georgie, name 3 daytime talk show hosts.
Sarah Harris. Oh my God, Lisa Wilkinson and missed that.
Yeah.
You've got like a whole
And
studio.
I think-
I know.
I
didn't want to be
ticking you down.
Yeah.
That's the last one, Sarah. Name 3 movies with sequels.
Ghostbusters? Oh, that wasn't a sequel. See,
My sequels are crap anyway.
Serial killer movies don't have
Yeah.
sequels. No,
So this is the
I'd be
last
worried
one.
if they
I
did,
know.
actually.
Georgie, if you win this, you win the game because you're both neck and neck.
Oh.
So name 3 things you can't resist.
Lee, wine, and coffee. Yay!
Congratulations!
Thank
Guys,
you.
a little wine, a cock pack.
Yay! I can't
And Sarah, we
resist.
couldn't let you go empty-handed, so we got you one too.
Oh, you're so sweet. Thank you. It's very kind.
Thank you, ladies, for joining the show.
Thank you so much.
Cheers. Happy Friday. Have a fabulous weekend.
Thank you. You
And here's
too.
to
Happy
International
Friday.
Women's Day week
Yes.
here.
Absolutely.
Fab way to spend a Friday night.
Yeah.
Thanks for having us.